Remedy errors and alarms. 280 OM10090882E17. E1270 tool no. Error: the specified tool number is not correct. For example, a tool number for the slave robot is selected in the program for the master robot. Check the program. E1280 no mechanism specified by the program. The mechanism number in the running program exceeds the number of mechanisms specified in this system. Check and modify the program and system settings. E1290, start permission input, was turned off. The start permission input goes off while running the program. Restart the program when the start permission input is turned on. E1300, start permission input is turned off. The start permission input was in the off state when the program was started. Start the program when the start permission input is turned on. E1310 Ext-Axis range monitoring error: the robot attempted to enter the area specified as the Ext-Axis range monitoring range. Restart is enabled when the monitor input goes off. E1311 Ext-Axis range monitoring error: slave. The slave robot attempted to enter the area specified as the Ext-Axis range monitoring range. E1320 and condition monitoring error: all and conditions are satisfied when the monitor input is in the on state. Restart is enabled when the monitor input goes off. E1321 and condition monitoring error: slave. The and conditions of the slave robot are satisfied when the monitor input is in the on state. E1330 cannot update variable value. The command that assigns a value to a position variable was executed in a protected program. Change the protect level of the target program to allow point change only. E1340 remote axis and mechanism overlaps. The external axis you tried to remote control is in operation in the running program. Wait until the external axis for remote control stops. E1350 lift up calculation error: position after the lift up cannot be calculated because of the singular point. Correct the robot orientation data. E1351 lift up angle limit error: motion angle necessary for lift up is too large. E1360 R_mark command does not exist. In error recovery operation, there is no R_mark command registered in either forward or backward step direction. Check the program. E1370 cannot execute error recovery function. The command that prevents execution of the error recovery function exists between the stopping position and the R_mark command. The error recovery was attempted in one of the following conditions: during TP operation, such as offline edit or hot edit operation; during shift movement; during sensing operation. All mechanisms including the robot itself have not started. E1380 the command which cannot be executed. PARACALL, stop, GOHOME or until command exists in the call program of the R_mark command. Error code message: probable cause remedy errors and alarms. OM10090882E17281. E1390 teach speed is over the taught move speed exceeds the maximum speed of the machine. Check the program. E1391 until speed over the taught speed exceeds 15.00 meters. Min when the quick is set until command. Change the taught speed to 15.00 meters per minute or below. E1400 speed slope command error. Unable to execute the speed slope command. Example: the slope section is set to 0, 0, or a negative number. Example: TCHSNS command is used together with it. Check the program. E1410 the option is insufficient, some processing cannot be conducted as corresponding options is not enabled or does not exist. Check the options. E1420 robot angles of a taught point are all 0. All robot articular angles of the taught point are set to 0, 0. It may be a temporal point added automatically. Check position of the taught point with trace operation and correct it. E1440SVSET1 command is not on the arc start point. SVSET1 command is registered in a point other than the arc start point. Register the command correctly. E1441SVSET1 command is not valid on this mechanism. SVSET1 command is not available as either the applied mechanism does not support this command or no mechanism exists. Delete the command. E1442SVSET1 command is not valid in this system. This manipulator does not support SVSET1 command. Delete the command. E1450 There is a command which cannot be executed in arc start program. Unusable commands exists in the arc on program. Check the arc on program for unusable commands. E1451 There is a command which cannot be executed in arc end program. Unusable commands exists in the arc off program. Check the arc off program for unusable commands. E1460 Stitch weld function is not valid. The TIG filler stitch welding function does not exist in the list of the system. Check if the function has been added to the system. E1461 This command cannot be executed in stitch weld section. The slope command was attempted in the TIG filler stitch welding section. Check the program. E1462 Timing adjustment values are not appropriate. The set value of stitch_TIG_ adjective is not appropriate. E1463 Stitch weld execution error. FIFO full. An error in communication with the welder occurred. Check connections with the welder. If the error occurs frequently, consult Panasonic representatives. E1470 SHOWPANEL command can't be executed while displaying a dialog box. SHOWPANEL command was attempted while opening a dialog box on the TP screen. Review the program and change T so that SHOWPANEL command won't be executed while opening a dialog box on the TP screen. Or do not try to display a dialog box or executing the SHOWPANEL command. E1480 The program has no welder number. Attempted welding operation using a program with no select weld setting and error stop when the welder property is no select weld. In switching TAWERS characteristics settings setting. Check the settings. Or specify a welder in the program. Error code message probable cause remedy errors and alarms. 282 OM10090882E17. E1490 Parallel sequence program error subcode. 01. A mechanism other than no select was executed. Change the mechanism of the program to no select. 02. A command not operable on the parallel sequence side was executed. 03. An error due to execution of the parallel sequence program. Or pause or hold command was executed. For example, an error of execution of a command registerable with the parallel sequence program, such as no label of the jump address. Check the program. E1500 fixed tool coordinate is invalid. The command for fixed tool whose coordinate system specified by the program is disabled was executed. Specify a user coordinate system valid for the fixed tool coordinate settings in a program. E1900 user-defined message hold command was executed. Check the program architecture. E1910, E1919. Error input, user-defined label, the error input was turned on. Investigate and remove the cause of the error. E2010 sensing not possible. The input signal had been on when the touch sensor command was executed. In case of rotary shift, less than 3 reference points have been specified. Trace backward and then restart. Check the program structure. E2011 sensing is not possible, slave robot during sensing opera. TN, the slave robot restarted after an emergency stop. E2020 sensing no input work is not within the sensing range. Trace forward or backward to restart. E2030 shift calculation error. In case of rotational shift, positions of 3 reference points are not proper. Change position or speed of the teaching point. In case of weaving operation, check conditions. E2040 compensation limit over. Compensation data of tool is not stored. The calculation result exceeds the auto compensation range. For details, please refer to the operating instructions of the auto compensation of tool. Check if the applied tool compensation method is correct. E2041 cannot calculate the compensation data, because of compensation reference data not stored. Compensation reference date for auto compensation of tool does not exist. For details, please refer to the operating instructions of the auto compensation of tool. E2042 cannot calculate the compensation data, because of the invalid data or the lack of data. Invalid data exists, or data is not enough for calculation. For details, please refer to the operating instructions of the auto compensation of tool. Check if the applied tool compensation method is correct. Error code message probable cause remedy errors and alarms. OM10090882E17283. E2043 torch position error. In case of auto compensation of tool. Sensing inputs or in B had not been turned on when the sequence command, CALBASE equals 7, was executed. Or sensing input values have not been specified. For details, please refer to the operating instructions of the auto compensation of tool. Check if the origin mark of the robot is in correction position. If not, perform the origin return. E2044TOOLCAL command error TOOLCAL command has been executed before tool commands. For details, please refer to the operating instructions of the auto compensation of tool. Check and correct the program structure. E2050 sensing input is detected at sensing start. Sensing input was turned on before starting the sensing operation. In other words, the torch contact had occurred before starting the tough sensor operation. Check the condition. Change the position of the torque point so as to ensure longer sensing distance. E2060 no sensor response in case that the stick function of the welder is used for sensing, the welder does not respond to the sensing start. Check power and communication cables of the welding power source. E2070 arc lock was executed in the sensing motion. In TAWERS TIG, arc lock operation was executed while touch sensing activated by TAWERS TIG touch start operation or stick signal input. Trace back to the sensing start point, and then restart operation. E2120 arc sensor, welder settings are not proper. Correct welder settings. Spin arc sensor, motor in the rotary head is defective. PC board is defective. Connectors are disconnected or severed. Turn off power to the robot and spin arc sensor control unit. And then newly turn them on. E2130 arc sensor, wire settings are not proper. Correct wire related settings. Spin arc sensor, counter data error. Turn off power, and then newly turn it on. E2140 arc sensor, welding current setting value is not in the range from 100A to 400A. Check welding current set value. E2150 arc sensor, welding speed setting value is not in the range from 0.1 to 1.2 meters per minute. E2160 arc sensor, weaving frequency setting value is not in the range from 1 Hz to 5 Hz. Check and correct the weaving frequency set value. Spin arc sensor, RPM exceeds 4,500 revolutions per minute. Turn off the power of the spin unit, and then newly turn it on. E2170 arc sensor, weaving amplitude is not in the range From 2 mm to 6 mm. Teach correct weaving amplitude points. E2180 arc sensor. Weave pattern. The system does not support the specified weaving pattern. Check and correct the weaving pattern. E2190 arc sensor. Current detection. No input of current. Detect signal in 3 seconds or more after turning on the torch switch. Check causes of no current signal input and no arc generation. E2200 arc sensor. Buffer over deviation of the actual work from teaching path exceeds allowable range. Change position of the teaching points. E2210 arc sensor. Distance over distance between tracking and pro. Ground welding path exceeds the tracking range. Change position of the teaching point. Change tracking range setting. Error code message. Probable cause remedy errors and alarms. 284 OM1009082E17. E2220 arc sensor. Data communication and error in controller, or introduction of noise. Power to the arc sensor is off. Turn off the power, and newly turn it on. E2230 arc sensor, amp. Error servo driver inside the spin controller is defective. An error of the motor temperature inside the spin head. Remove the cover of the spin controller and check the error display. Investigate the cause of the error. E2240 arc sensor, operation error. Shift amount calculation error due to error in controller or introduction of noise. Turn off power, and newly turn it on. E2260 arc sensor, rotational speed RPM of the motor inside the spin head is either too high or too low. E2270 arc sensor, data communication and error in controller, or introduction of noise. Power to the arc sensor unit is off. E2280 arc sensor, detection phase settings are not consistent. Check the detection phase setting values. E2290 arc sensor, encoder phase is out of range. Turn off the power switch to the spin controller, and then back on again. Check the spin controller cable. E2320 arc sensor, tool number error. Tool number 9 or higher is specified in spin arc sensing range. Modify the program. E2330 arc sensor, arc sensing is not available in a parallel processing program. Arc sense command is executed while processing parallel programs. Robot is not included in the mechanism of the running program. Does not inc. Change structure of the program. E2340 arc sensor, execution error. Arc slope. Arc slope and arc sensing is executed at the same time. Change structure of the program. E2350 spin sensor, execution error. Weaving. In the multi-cooperative robot control, movement, weaving and spin sensor were executed at the same time. Modify the program. E2360 auto extension, tracking voltage error. In TAWERS TIG auto extension function, the target voltage of the AVCVOLT command has not been specified. Check commands in the program. E2370AUTOEXT command was executed in a mechanism having only external axis or on a jig controller. AUTOEXT command was executed in a mechanism having only external axis or on in a jig controller. Check and correct the program. E3020 rock reset, position due to load inertia, external axis is not incomplete. Stop by the multi-rotation reset command. Add delay command, of about 1 to 2 seconds of delay time, before RSTREV command. E3021M rock reset, abnormal fraction pulse data. For a positioner whose number of pulse per turn is not integer, the accumulated fraction data exceeds the numerator of the reduction ratio while executing the multi-rotation reset. Readjust the origin of the external axis. E3022M rock reset, inhibited position range. For a positioner whose number of pulse per turn is not integer, the multi-rotation reset was executed when the rotation angle of the main axis of the absolute tracking pair or the pair axis was within the range of 180 degrees plus or minus 5 degrees. Check the positional relation of the main axis and pair axis. 0. Error code message probable cause remedy errors and alarms. OM10090882E17285. E3023 ERROR reset. The external axis is not applicable to ERROR reset. ERROR reset was executed to the slave external axis or an external axis not in the mechanism. Exclude the followings from the object of RSTREV command: the slave external axis whose pair axis is the slave external axis not in the mechanism. E3030 connect error, mode, in, multi-cooperative robot control. Movements, not accessible as modes do not match. Change the mode of the slave robot. Connect error, robot no. In, multi-cooperative robot control. Movements, not accessible as the specified slave robot no. Is inadequate. Check the harmonic movement settings. Connect error, constant, in, multi-cooperative robot control. Movements, not accessible as the settings of the slave robot has changed. Execute system communication between robots once again. E3040 hold, slaver, in, multi-cooperative robot control. Movements, operation is stopped due to error in slave robot. Remove causes of the error of the slave robot. E3050 safety holder, slave, in, multi-cooperative robot control. Movements, safety holder of the slave robot is activated. Correct the tool interference of the slave robot. E3060 multi-mechanism is not set. Multi-mechanism has not specified. Calculation area not secured. On the set menu, click Management Settings and System. Then add the multi-mechanism. E3080 couple timeout failed to connect to the master robot. Within the preset time period after executing couple command, check the program. E3100 please turn on servo, asterisk is axis name. The target independent E-axis servo power is off. Turn on the target independent E-axis servo power, and then restart. E3110 independent E-axis, out of servo off enable section error, asterisk is axis name. Servo power off is conducted to the independent E-axis to which, servo off enable section, is not applicable. Turn on the servo power on again, and then restart. E3120 movement is inhibited. The axis in moving inhibition state was attempted to move. Review the reason to inhibit the movement of the axis. E3130 pair axis position error. The pair axis deviates beyond the allowable range. Close the current program and then position the external axis. E3140 immovable axis position error. Deviation of the immovable axis from the taut position exceeds the allowable range. Close the current program and then position the immovable axis to the taut position. E3150 couple command error. Couple command is executed redundantly at the slave side. While executing the couple command in the program running in parallel at the slave side, the PARACALL off is executed to the program. Check command structure in the program.